afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You walked into a civil case. I'll read the style of the case to you. The plaintiffs are Robert J. McGee, individually, Constance McGee, individually, Kelly Amber McGee, a minor, through her parents and natural guardians, Robert J. McGee and Constance McGee, and Robert J. McGee and Constance McGee as personal representatives of the estate of Shane McGee, deceased, versus General Motors Corporation, a foreign corporation. I will introduce to you first the attorneys for the plaintiffs, who are Robert Kelly, Sheldon Schlesinger, and John Ustall. The attorneys for the defense are Bud Kirk, Dan Gerber, Terrence Russell, and Jim Feeney. When you are called to one of those seats over there, if you know any of these folks, please let me know, and we'll inquire at that time. Well, you received a subpoena a couple of weeks ago or whenever, and I'm sure when you received it you were so full of joy and enthusiasm you couldn't wait to get here. And look at your smiling faces, it must be true. At any rate, you arrived here, I presume, at 8 o'clock this morning. You were on time, I'm sure, which meant that you had to get up 5:30, 6 o'clock. And those of you with the great, hairdos who have to blow dry your hair, you probably got up at 4:30 or 5. And it is now 1:45. What took you so long? Where have you been? At any rate, you walked into what I consider to be a legally interesting case. Of course, it had its tragic overtones. And we have the finest lawyers probably anywhere in the United States trying this case. So from an adversarial point of view, this will be a most interesting case for you to sit in as jurors. And, well, you know why you're here. You're here because of our Constitution, which I call a once-upon-a-mankind kind of doctrine. It's the first time that we know of that people got together, sat down, and figured out how they would be governed. And one of those tenets of that Constitution is that everybody has a right of access to the court system, plaintiffs and defendants. And they have a right to a jury of their peers. That's you, not me. A jury of their peers. And as you can see, this morning, many of you were called. We have 34 courtrooms in this courthouse. We have hundreds of courtrooms across the state and thousands across the country with people like you doing what you're doing today or tomorrow or whenever this case ends. And that is resolving disputes between people and people, people and companies, people and government, government and government, that they can't resolve themselves. And rather than go outside and, shoot it out or fight it out, they come in court, a place of reason, a place of civility, where people like you use your common sense, your life experiences, your dedication to the facts of the case as you hear it, and your application of the law, as I instruct you the law is. And you make a decision. And we live by it. The system lives with it. Sometimes there's aberrations. You can't help it. This is a human process, and we are not perfect, not any of us. And once in a while a mistake is made. If it can be corrected, it'll be corrected. If it can't be, and sometimes it can't be, well, that's the price you have to pay for this kind of a system. And it is the best system that man has evolved. Some people may not like it, but no one has come up with anything better. And you'd be surprised. You're very good at what you do. I've been sitting here now for approximately 33, 34 years. I've seen thousands of you come and go, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of verdicts, if not thousands. And you hit the nail on the head almost 99% of the time. You really do. And what do we ask you to do? We ask you to search for the truth to the best of your ability and reflect it in your verdict. That's what you're here for. And when you do that, members of the jury, you kind of touch that flag on my right. Maybe even leave a little bit of yourselves there, so that when your children receive it from you, hopefully they receive it in a stronger and more viable condition than when you received it from your mothers and fathers. This case is going to take about 2 months to try. Don't get excited yet. As I say, we'll work with you, and you'll be hearing a lot of facts during those 2 months. You'll find out how General Motors operates, I suppose, how they make cars, and I think you'll find it interesting. And when you reach your verdict, we accept it. And, this week or this month or these 2 months, however long it takes, you're going to be that constitution that we talk about. You're going to walk it, talk it, breathe it, and act it out. Because you're going to be it. You're the ones that make the decision. Not me, not the attorneys, not the parties. You. Each one of you who are chosen. And it's an awesome responsibility. But you'll have 5 other people in there to work with you, to talk with you, and to guide you here and there. You exchange your views, and you'll be surprised when you get done masticating, if you will, the facts and the law. You do come out, as I said before, with the right decision. So that's what you have to do. Now let me tell you about the time frames that you're going to be working through. You start at 11 o'clock every morning, Monday through Thursdays. We break for lunch and we quit at 5 o'clock. I mean, right on the button. I don't care who's testifying there. If he's in the middle of a sentence, when 5 o'clock comes around, we recess. That's true. You don't work Friday. And I do that deliberately because in a lengthy case like this, you're going to need some time to take care of your own personal problems, do your own chores, and I leave Friday for that. Of course, you have a few hours in the morning that you can do it. So you won't find this as much as a hardship as you think. During the Christmas holidays, we'll work it out. That's going to look good on television. We'll work it out, and Christmas is on Thursday, and New Year's is on Thursday. So what we can do, we can work a half a day on Wednesday maybe, and then meet again the next Monday. But the 6 of you plus the alternates who are chosen will get together and work out a schedule that's amenable to everybody. So we're not going to impose on you for the holidays, believe me. All right? So with that said, the first thing we do, of course, in a child, in any child, is the Whadya. Whadya are 2 French words meaning to see and to speak. Some people also think it means an idiom, or is an idiom, which means the search for the truth, and it may very well be. During that Whadya, I and the attorneys will have an opportunity to question you, touching upon your qualifications to be a juror in this particular case. We're not going to ask you questions to pry or to embarrass you. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to get an impartial, fair jury. And these questions help us to do that. We know full well that, we can ask you questions for 3 days and probably not even scratch the facade of your personality, let alone getting into what really makes you tick. But if you're candid, you'd be surprised we can deduct certain manifestations of your makeup that may make you a good juror or may not make you a good juror. The attorneys have a certain number of peremptory challenges, by which I mean they can challenge you and excuse you and not give a reason, therefore. If you are so challenged or excused, please don't think that your honesty or integrity is being impugned. It is not. It's just their right under the law. I can't excuse for business reasons, so if you say, I'm this or I'm that, I'm not going to really consider it too much. I will somewhat, but, that won't be determinative. But as you know, the Whadya is an attempt by all of us, and we all want this, really, to obtain impartial jurors. Impartial. Well, how do you get to be so impartial all of a sudden? You came here with your likes and dislikes. Some of you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. None of you anywhere near where I'm at, but that's okay. Hopefully you'll get there. But you do have your likes and dislikes, your predilections, maybe even your biases or prejudices. And we have to find out about those things, if any there be. And if you don't think you have biases or prejudices, let me give you a couple of examples. I don't know about you, but when I go out for dinner or lunch or whatever and happen to go to a buffet, and I see a bed of those gray-green things, laying on ice, and a half shell, I don't touch them. I don't touch them with your 10-foot pole. And those of you that like them, you don't even eat them. You swallow them, right? What might you get if you bite into one? I don't know. So that's my predilection or bias, if you want to call it, as far as food is concerned. But on a more serious note, depending upon how precocious you were as a child, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, and you wanted to find out about your religion and your God, I'll wager that you asked your mom and dad, or your reverend, your pastor, your rabbi, your priest, whatever, about your religion and God. And I'll further wager that they told you that your religion and your God was the true religion and the true God. Well, think about that for a moment. If that's so, what are the rest of us doing? What are we doing? The point I'm trying to make is if in the name of God they can teach you prejudice, how can I in the name of man say that you be without it? I can't. It's a free country. If you have biases and prejudices, that's your business. With one very large caveat. You can't bring him into the jury room. You got to leave him outside that door. And you can't do that, you got to leave him here. You can't bring him into the jury room. Because if you do that, you're not giving one of these folks a fair trial. And that's why you're here. When you walk through those doors, I like to think that you walk into a temple of fairness. That's what this is, a temple of fairness. And who are the keepers? You. All of you. You're the keepers. The jury system is as good as you are. And I told you you're pretty good at it. I know there may be some cases somewhere that you may not agree with. Well, you can change it. You can make it right by doing it right yourselves, right here in this case. Okay? Now, from time to time, I try to inculcate a little humor in these proceedings. I don't say a little bit anxious, a little bit frightened maybe, but don't be. Law is nothing more than right or wrong, and I don't have to teach that to you. You know what's right, you know what's wrong, and that's how you'll decide this case. However, when we do start, and we swear in the jury, of course, then we get serious. We cross our T's and dot our I's, because this is a serious business between these folks. You know, they're coming to you, right? They'll say, no, it didn't happen that way. And they'll ask you, are we right? And it's up to you to determine. As I said before, it's not easy, but you do it well. So I hope if you're chosen as a juror, you'll do just that. And I think you'll like this jury business. I like it. I believe in it. Because I believe in you folks. You've never let me down, and I don't think you're going to let anybody down. The next thing we're going to do is to call 14 of you. And why is 14 such a magical number in our jurisprudence? I happen to have 14 chairs. If I had 16, I'd call 16. That's a fact. Now, when I call your name, if I mispronounce it, please let me know and I'll try to correct it. And we got some doozies in here. And, you know, you came to the right place. If you want to change your name, now's the time to do it. Well, really, where do you hear some of these? I know most of them, you know, were involved with love. Some lady fell in love, like, well, never mind. All you have to do really is get a piece of paper, put down what name you want to be, say, you know, you have to say you're not the felon and you don't owe any substantial money to anybody. You sign it, I sign it, you go downstairs, pay $200, and you can go out. Whomever, you know, I used to say Donald Trump, but today, you know.